4, 3, 2, 1. And hello, and welcome everyone to the Unsolicited Wrestling Podcast. Exactly what the internet needed. Another chubby white guy with a chin beard with feelings about wrestling. As always, I am your host, Joel, but chances are you might know me better by my kayfabe name, Cape Joel. I do lots of fun comic book videos on YouTube, and I'm also a fan of wrestling. Kind of a newer fan, but because I'm a massive nerd and because I love lore and continuity and everything, you're damn right that I was sure to go out of my way to absorb as much as I possibly could when it came to actual wrestling lore and such. Now, as you can see too, we have ourselves a brand new setup here. This was actually done for us, if you're watching the live version, by our friend Sly, so thank you for that. I think this looks a lot nicer, and we'll see how this goes for the actual show proper. The caped marks assemble. I like that, hippie exterminator. I like that a lot. If you're a fan of this show, you're not just a fan of Cape Joel. You are a caped mark. A smart mark at that, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate that. Now, as always, when we start off the show, the question is, what wrestling shirt is Joel wearing today? And, well, today I'm glad to say I've gone, not WWE, not AEW. This is a Ring of Honor original right here. This is my War Machine shirt. Now, some of you probably don't remember when War Machine was War Machine. You might very well just know them as they are now as the War Raiders in NXT, the Viking tag team of Hanson and Rowe. I'm not exactly sure, and I don't think they ever gave an answer, why they changed the name from War Machine to War Raiders. Maybe they thought that, you know, there was going to be some confusion with the War Machine Iron Man related character. Isn't there an MMA guy who also goes by War Machine too? Does that guy, like, own the copyright on that? I know WWE is very weird about copyrights. But yeah, I got this one near the end of their run. I love Ring of Honor. Their merch game, not that great. I feel that a lot of the wrestlers in Ring of Honor have better merchandise on their own pro wrestling tees shops, and that they let kind of the lesser shirt designs go to the actual Ring of Honor website. But that being said, Ring of Honor does try and put their logo on other stuff. People probably can't see because I'm sitting down, but I'm wearing the digital camo Ring of Honor shorts as well. So this is a matching set. I actually wish WWE shop offered more when it comes to shorts and stuff that aren't t-shirts. I like to get a whole outfit going there. I know Chalkline Apparel has like this great Razor Ramon set where it's like, you know, like a polo shirt and shorts and everything. It's goddamn expensive. Hey, if you're looking for a gift for Joel this Christmas, my birthday's in July, hook a man up with some Chalkline Apparel, why don't you? I'll be sure to wear it on the show, and I'll be sure to thank you. I'll even unbox it if you want. But yes, with that out of the way, everyone, let's actually get to the news this week. And again, if this is your first Unsolicited Wrestling Podcast, we don't cover every little thing that happened in the week that was. We cover what I found interesting and what I think would lead to a good conversation with you, the chat, because you, the chat, are my co-host, ostensibly, for this show. That's why we got the little chat window down here, and you can only get the chat window if you watch it live, or the video version I upload later on the Joel Daily channel. But definitely good to be here whenever I decide to do it. I'm a bad streamer. I don't have things set in time. You just gotta catch me like a leprechaun or a unicorn. You gotta just find me and enjoy it when you can. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's actually get to our first big news piece this week, and that would be the main event of Wrestlemania has finally been picked, and wouldn't you just know it, everyone? It's the match everyone thought it was going to be. The big three-way dance between Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair. It's going to be the first time ever in WWE history that women have main evented something like this, and that's pretty cool, honestly. I know the storyline itself has been getting more and more confusing and more needlessly convoluted, and don't worry, we're going to talk about the other thing that happened with Charlotte Flair this week, but it's cool. It's nice to know that the powers that be, even if they are incredibly out of touch, like Vince McMahon seems to be, they know a good thing when they have it. They can kind of read the room sometimes, and they know that people really wanted this. and that this is going to be their main event. It's just a shame, too, that this is also going to be the longest WrestleMania in history. Something like 17 matches, maybe 17 hours. No one even knows. I hope by the time we actually do get this match, people aren't going to be so tired and burned out that they just don't care. Because that happens a lot. That's a real problem. Oh yes, and I'm sure in the weeks to come we'll get to hear Ronda Rousey trash talk wrestling again. I agree, Longstar. I also hope that it's a clean finish. Okay, thank you, Hippie Exterminator. That's 17 matches at 8 hours. I had it the other way around. Yeah, I also hope it's a clean finish. I also hope there's not a lot of shenanigans involved here. But I don't know, man. I just don't know. They've again, as I've said, they've needlessly convoluted this story every step of the way. What should have just been a straightforward, Becky Lynch being modern-day Stone Cold Steve Austin, sticking it to authority, sticking it to basically an evil outsider that is Ronda Rousey. She didn't start that way, but she's leaning into that now. The whole wrestling's fake and stupid, and I can beat you up because I'm an MMA fighter. It's basically the modern-day equivalent of Rocky Balboa versus Thunder Lips. Is basically what it comes down to. I also hope it doesn't get boring, Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, these are three super talented women here, three super talented performers. I'm sure they will put on a good show. Then again, we've seen variations on this match a bunch. I wonder what they're going to have to do to take it to that next level, is what I want to know. What's the angle here? What's the thing that they're really going to pull out? I know some people had a rather interesting idea here, because obviously we've seen Ronda Rousey's husband on TV a bunch, and obviously Charlotte always has her dad, Ric Flair, in the corner. It would be interesting to see, does Becky need to get someone in her corner too? Maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin, because she's just doing his gimmick. What if he comes in, and what if, we get like a whole fight on the outside with the dudes trying to interfere in the match? Probably don't need that. But again, it might be interesting, and that's total WWE booking right there. It's not enough just to let wrestlers wrestle. We need to have outside interference. Yeah, I don't know if I can handle all these matches, too. I'm lucky, Longstar, because this is going to be on a Sunday, and I record the Comic Multiverse Sundays with Matt, so I'm probably going to be working from, 10 onward, so I'm probably going to miss the bulk of it. I'll probably be able to watch the first half, but then I'll probably have to watch the second half tomorrow, and maybe that's the best thing to do, to watch it in halves. Also, too, we'll have the NXT on the Friday, and we'll have the Ring of Honor New Japan Super Show on Saturday, too, so it's going to be a lot of wrestling that weekend, and that's not even counting, your Joey Janela's spring breaks and your wrestling revolvers and everything else. Oh, I like that, Party Pug. That's fun. Yeah, we don't have enough, we don't got enough amnesia storylines in wrestling anymore. That sounds like a very Impact idea right now. Impact is actually doing magic and, crazy alternate worlds and stuff. I like that funnier part of wrestling. I'd like to see that come back. But all right, so that was that story, everyone. Our next story also involves Charlotte, hilariously enough, and that is over the week, she became the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Yeah, she won it again off Asuka in a very impromptu match, which, to their credit, was a good match. They're very talented people, but did Charlotte need to win? Did she need to carry a title into this big three-way match? No, of course she didn't. Again, this is a weird Vince McMahon idea that he got into his head, where it's like, oh, we already have a special match. How do we make it more special? Oh, I'll tell you, damn it. Oh, we're gonna get 2 titles in there. Well, if Becky wins, does she get both titles? No, she only gets the one she challenges for. Are we unifying the women's titles? No, not at all. We're just doing this anyway for no reason. And again, it's so sad, because again, if you followed Asuka's career, this is the second time Charlotte Flair has screwed her at WrestleMania. You'll recall at this time last year, we had Charlotte versus Asuka. We had the streak versus the legacy and everything. Who's going to win the title, or will she lose her streak? Charlotte won. It was a great match. They work well together, but they threw away the streak, and by throwing away Asuka's Goldbergian 2-year-long streak there, We just saw Asuka slide down the card, having, like, stupid feuds with Carmella and everything, and beating up James Ellsworth. It was really sad. Then she won the Rumble, and then it's like, they even threw that away. They threw away the Rumble win, and just a little by little, it looked like she was crawling her way back up. She sniped on in there during the Charlotte-Becky feud and stole the title for herself like a little Chris Benoit, and it looked like it was going to be good. And then she lost it again on television. And I've heard several rather interesting theories as to why they ended up going ahead with this. One theory is that, whether you noticed it or not, Charlotte hasn't won on TV in months. Like, in months, she hasn't won on TV. And fans were talking about this online, and word is that somehow that got back to Vince McMahon, and he was like, oh, well, we can't have her be the third one in this super championship in our big new main event we have, that if she's got to be a loser, she's got to win, but not just win, she's got to win big, she's got to win the biggest one. That's believable. Yeah, okay, see, Hippie Exterminator has the exact month. It's been since October since she won, which is nuts for a Flair. And, she's usually booked pretty solid, so that is nuts. That's one theory. I can kind of believe that, but I believe the second theory more. And the second theory is Vince McMahon looked at the card, looked at this being the longest WrestleMania ever, and said, all right, one of these matches has got to go. We can't find a worthwhile opponent for Asuka. And her entire storyline has been completely eclipsed by the three other women, so let's just axe it completely. Which is really disrespectful to Asuka and all the hard work she's put in. But it's even more disrespectful to Naomi, Carmella, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville, who are supposed to be like in a big four-way match to decide who would be the number one contender for that. They didn't get to have that match, which means they're not going to Mania, which means they're not getting a Mania paycheck, which is the biggest paycheck for these guys here. They rely on that one to get them through the year, so they don't get a match, they don't get a paycheck. And Naomi especially, if you follow her on Twitter, I think it's Trinity Fatu, I think she does it under her real name, she was not shy about letting people know this is some bullshit. I thought we were past the point of women's wrestlers getting canceled like this. But yeah, it's just, yeah, as Hippie Exterminator said, yeah, good luck in the women's battle royale, everybody. Hope you enjoy that, because, the men's Andre the Giant battle royale, that creates champs all over the place. Surely it will do the same for you. Unless Vince axes this match at the last minute, too. It's the main event, he can't axe this, or if he did, that would be insane. But yeah, just a real sad state of affairs here, where it's like no one involved won. Everyone feels bad, and now Asuka must once again claw her way back up. I mean, there's other places to work now. In fact, we're going to be talking about what's happening in women's wrestling later on when we talk about an AEW story. But if I was her, for this level of disrespect and not getting to go to WrestleMania, I'd be thinking about our pastures green or elsewhere. Should I go back to Japan? I don't know, I tell you. But yeah, that was that story. Next up, what do we have here? Oh, yes, the ever-growing New Day storyline, which is, again, much like the women's three-way storyline, they have just lucked into telling a great story almost by accident. So we saw last week Kofi try really, really hard to, beat all these teams. Vince McMahon stacking the card against him because, Vince McMahon always has to be the villain in these stories, and you don't really win unless you overcome a McMahon, because a McMahon needs to elevate you, even though they're not wrestlers, or at least they shouldn't be. Kofi couldn't do it. Kofi came up short against Daniel Bryan, but now his friends came to his aid, and they were going to do it together. And indeed, they did do it together. They won, and Kofi is going to WrestleMania now. He got the match he wanted, and it's real beautiful, and it's real nice, and again, it's the power of friendship, it's the power of positivity. This also feeds into the storyline of Big E and Xavier talking about quitting. We know they're not going to, but still. There's still a week, though, and I worry about that extra week, because again, they're really pulling out all the stops here with Vince doing everything in his power to stop Kofi, because he's racist. And that's not me saying that. That's the subtext that has become the text now. That he does not want Kofi to win because he is black and because there hasn't been that many black champions. I had a very interesting theory, and that is, if they want to go full anime with this, if they want to go full cartoon with this, we got one more week till WrestleMania. On Tuesday, wouldn't it be friggin' nuts if McMahon comes out and goes, you know what, I changed my mind, Kofi. If you really want to go to WrestleMania, you gotta win one more match. It's gonna be a 3-way match, and it's gonna be you versus Big E and Xavier, and the winner of that match gets to go to Mania. That, the final stop that, evil Mr. McMahon pulls out is trying to get the New Day to fight each other. And, he could really twist the knife and be saying, like, Big E, Xavier, you better go all out on this one. You better win, because I promise as long as I'm alive, you're never going to get another chance to go to WrestleMania. You're going to be clowns. You're going to be my clowns, and you're going to dance for me. And then you could have like a finger poke of doom situation where Big E and Xavier are like, well, screw this. We're just going to lay down for Kofi. We're just going to let him win, and you can't stop us. But then you have Kofi come back and be like, no, I need to feel like I earned this. I need to know there was no flukes involved. You better give me your best in there, everyone. You better go all out. And Kofi ends up winning and beating his two friends. And it's this beautiful moment of like, oh, they're closer than brothers, but now they need to fight each other. I don't think they're going to do that. But if I was writing it, I would. Because I think that would be a really good match. And that would also satiate a lot of hunger for a New Day versus New Day match without actually breaking them up. And you could have the story be like, oh, they grew closer because of this. They, again, through the power of positivity and pancakes, overcame, every obstacle that was in their way. That would be my thing. Also, too, because they were forced to do another tag team gauntlet, it was a nice way to see what's the current pecking order for tag teams. They beat the Club in like 2 seconds, Gallows and Anderson. Ugh, what a shame. I talked before in a past episode how much I loved Gallows and Anderson and how much they're being really misused and how they're potentially turning down big contract renewals to go work somewhere else. Getting squashed so hard like this certainly makes me think that yes, they are going elsewhere. Because why else would they be destroyed so hard like that? The Usos had a nice moment in a bit of continuity. I saw some people on Twitter not like this, but I liked it a lot, and I'll explain. And that is that the Usos basically refused to fight the New Day out of a respect for them. And it makes sense in their characters because, if you'll recall, the Usos only made it on the WrestleMania card last year. They've worked for the company forever, and they only made it on the WrestleMania card last year. It was all pre-shows and battle royales before that. So they know what Kofi's going through. They understand. They know full well that there's a ceiling for them too. And they're Samoan. And even they know that there's a ceiling, whether it be a tag team wrestling ceiling or be it, racist McMahon not being white ceiling. But still, I thought that was very nice, especially because they've wrestled each other so goddamn much. And again, if you watch Up, Up, Down, Down, they're friends in real life. So it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, as Hippie Exterminator said, good luck, Goose, because we forfeit. It was a really feel-good moment. Some people on Twitter really didn't like it because some people were like, oh, well, they should always have to fight. Heel or face, you should always have to fight. You should always want to win. I thought it made for very good television. Was it a very TV moment? Sure, but I thought it worked well. Ooh, we got someone new in the chat here. Caleb Xavier. Hey, Jill, I'm Extreme Old School Wrestling fan. Grew up in the likes of Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, OG4 Horseman. Nice. Anderson Flair, nice. Magnum TA, oh, good old Magnum TA. Well, thank you for joining us, Caleb. We appreciate that. This is a new thing we're rocking right here, trying to do a wrestling show. I usually only ever do this on Twitter, my unsolicited wrestling thoughts. So I said, screw it, I want to stream more. Let's turn this into a friggin' TV show. Also, hello, Ninjak as well. Yes, it did make sense for the story. See, it's sometimes wrestling is a story, it is a soap opera, and sometimes you gotta do things that don't make all the sense. Furthermore, about the Usos and always missing WrestleMania, they don't have an opponent yet. They might also get axed. They might also not make it this year either, because the show's long enough as it is, and they tease that they might be going up against the Hardys. But now, apparently, if you read like the list of everyone who's going to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, either one or both of the Hardys is in that, so they're not going to be in the Battle Royale and have a thing with the Usos. So looks like they're also not going to get a WrestleMania paycheck this year, which, oh shit, that sucks for them too, because Naomi's married to one of them. I don't know if she's married to Jimmy or Jay. I can never remember. But, oh, that sucks, because that means their whole household ain't getting a WrestleMania paycheck this year. Fuck. That blows. It's funny, too, when the Usos said, oh, we've beaten and, we've battled and won against everyone on SmackDown. Who will do battle with us? And Killian Dane from Sanity, a.k.a. Big Damo, a.k.a. one of my favorites, he had, like, a funny tweet being like, we'll challenge you. But Sanity is, once again, nowhere to be seen on television. They might as well not exist. Actually, no, that's not true, because during the Miz segment, when Shane McMahon called out the evil heels to pacify the Miz, it was the three guys from Sanity, with Eric Young looking almost unrecognizable because he's shaved his head now. He actually looks a lot like Christopher Daniels now. It was him, one of the Colognes, because the Colognes still fucking work for this company all these years later. They're still getting paychecks, and Miz just beats them all to death. And I'm like, oh, I was happy to see Sanity, but oh, I'm really sad they got beaten up. I don't own a lot of wrestling figures, but I own the Nikki Cross figure, and I'm actually, waiting for the Dane figure to come out. So I can, create all of Sanity and have them here for the wrestling show, because I'm not going to see them on television. That's on my Amazon wish list, too. The fact that Mania is going to be 8 hours and a lot of people could get Mania matches ain't a good sign. No, it really isn't. Yeah, the one, there's a lot of switch to wrestling. Oh, don't worry, Caleb Xavier. We're going to be talking about AEW in a second. We got a big AEW story. Yeah, the Bella Twins did retire. I was going to put that on the list, but truth be told, I don't know much about them because their heyday was really before I started watching, is the thing. So I don't really have much to talk about. And yeah, as Hippie Exterminator says, meh. They were an interesting case because they were like the last of the divas wrestlers back before, it wasn't like, oh, well, let's just take models and actresses and teach them how to wrestle. Now it's like, the age of Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, all the four horsewomen, the people who wrestle because they want to do it, is the thing. Yeah, Ninja, it's so sad what they're doing to Sanity, because they're all so talented. Oh, God, and the fact that they broke up Nikki Cross from the rest of them. Oh, hey, here's one for you. Nikki Cross has a YouTube channel, because I guess she's pissed off about not getting on television, and because the Young Bucks have shown, if you have a YouTube channel, you can do amazing things. Go subscribe to Nikki Cross's YouTube channel, and tell her that Cape Joel and the Unsolicited Wrestling Podcast sent you, because I feel that's where you gotta watch them. I would actually love it if she got the other guys on the show. Did you know Nikki Cross and Killian Dane are married in real life? Is that not adorable? That he's like this huge, giant orc of a man, and she's this little sweet ball of crazy. It's like this great opposites attract kind of thing. It's beautiful. I love it. I love, is what I do. All right, so that's that story, everyone. Let's move on from there. What's our next piece here? That is, oh yes. So the name shortening gods were at it again. This time it was Mustafa Ali in their crosshairs. Mustafa Ali, much like Cien Almas, Alexander Rusev, Antonio Cesaro, and many more before him. Mustafa Ali had his name shortened. He is now officially just going to be called Ali. Yeah. He's just going to be called Ali now. Boo. Name shortening in general, I don't like. I know they're probably thinking in the long run where it's like, oh, what will look better on merch? What will cost less to print? But for Mustafa Ali, if you listen to his story, and he did a great Chris Jericho podcast talking about why he picked that name specifically, it's very important to his character. He wanted to show, hey, Muslim Americans, brown Americans, we're nothing to be afraid of, guys. We're just trying to live our lives like you, everyone. You don't got to be scared of a dude named Mustafa, I should say, and you especially shouldn't be afraid of the name Ali. And yes, before you ask, he did pick the name Mustafa because he figured that was a name that most Americans could say because of Prince Ali in the Aladdin movie. Yes, that's absolutely why he picked it. But, yeah, man, Mustafa Ali, there's another guy who, on one hand, he had an amazing year this year. Daniel Bryan helped elevate him, helped bring him to Raw just full time. And you gotta wonder, if he didn't get hurt before that elimination match, was he gonna be in the Kofi spot? Was that gonna be the story? Because I feel like it has to be. Because why else would Daniel Bryan bring him up? And they were even still having a little bit of that story in the Fastlane match where Daniel Bryan was treating Mustafa Ali much like how Triple H and the powers that be treated him. You know, you don't belong here. You're too small. You're too this. You're too that. I really do have to wonder, had things gone differently, is that the story they would have told with him before Kofi, you know, amazed everyone and people got so on board for Kofi Mania? And I wonder, does that make him feel bad, or is he just really happy for Kofi? I think everyone's just happy for Kofi. And hey, he made it out from 205 Live, and he's on Raw now, which means he's gonna get more stories. He's gonna get more stuff. Heck, when the big shakeup happens, I would like to see a scenario where he could actually wrestle Rey Mysterio. I think that would be really fun. I think that would be super cool. But yeah, there's the Mustafa Ali story. Go listen to that Talk is Jericho interview with him. It's actually really, really interesting. He talks about how he became a cop, like in Chicago, because, you know, he really wanted to help his community and really change the perception of Muslim Americans in America and everything. And I thought that was really nice. Oh, well, thank you, Marvel Knight, for always coming in and always telling me I'm sounding good. I'm very anxious about my tech skills on this one, so I'm glad to know I'm looking and sounding good. Now, what's our next one we have here? Dun, 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 dun. All right, so our next story after that is, oh yes, some interesting stuff slated for Wrestlemania Axxess this year. For those that don't know, Wrestlemania Axxess, it's basically a convention. It's basically a con. I've never been. I've always seen lots of video of it, though, and it looks like a great time. It looks super cool. And one of the big things they're shilling this year is the Worlds Collide, and that is you can see stars, like basically dream matches from people from Raw, Smackdown, NXT UK, and 205 Live. They always had live wrestling at the events, and, you know, kind of the dirty secret of Axxess was, yeah, you can see live wrestling, you know, with real superstars who weren't important enough to make it on the Mania card, which is always the sad, dirty secret. Or, oh, here's some NXT guys we wanted to show off because we think they might be big stars eventually. This year, though, it's kind of interesting because of the Worlds Collide concept. You get some dream matches. They're really selling it as, hey, see the stars of old NXT versus the stars of new NXT, which is kind of cool, honestly, and definitely something I would be interested in. By far, though, the most interesting part of this, and the person who kind of stole the show on this one before it even started, was Luke Harper, who, of course, you'll remember from the Wyatt family and the Bludgeon Brothers and the former Brody Lee on the indie scene. He wrote a very heartfelt tweet about how this what he's going to be doing here at Axxess. He's going to be taking on Donovan Dijakovic, because they had to make him an evil foreigner. But yeah, he's going to be taking him on in a big match, and this is exciting because he basically said this is my make or break moment in this company, because he obviously, if you'll recall, when he was teamed with Rowan again in the Bludgeon Brothers, they were on a big tear. They were winning all over the place, but then they had to drop the belts because they both got hurt. And that's basically the story of Luke Harper's poor career. He gets a little bit of momentum going, whether it be when he became Intercontinental Champion for a little bit, when he was on a good tag run. He always got hurt, and he always had to go away, and he always had to start from scratch. And everybody in the company loves this guy. Everyone says he's one of the best hands in the ring. Everybody really, really digs him. And everyone says that, you know, he has the skills and the potential to break through, but through injury or no fault of his own, whether because he's in a team and someone goes down, which means he has to go back on the shelf. He's never had a chance. In fact, he's been cleared to wrestle since February 6th, and he's been doing like the house show circuit, but he has not made it back on TV, and they basically have been telling him, yeah, we got nothing for you, man. We got nothing for you. Rowan, arguably the least charismatic of the Wyatt family, arguably the least charismatic guy in the company, is now doing great work as the heater for Daniel Bryan, and poor Luke Harper can't find nothing. Just can't find nothing. Heck, they can't even throw him in a group with Bray Wyatt because Bray Wyatt hasn't even been seen on TV in forever. But the poor guy, my heart just goes out to him. He seems like such a nice, sweet, genuine guy. And he's having such a rough time. Yeah, Hippie Exterminator, you saw Luke's post. You can tell he really wants this comeback to be great, and I hope he does it because he's amazing in the ring, and he's, well, yeah, exactly. Very, very agile, very underrated big man. I always believe in the big man. And he's, one of the best ones. There's that great match he did in the special. You can see footage of it. It was him versus Brock Lesnar. And you knew he wasn't going to beat Brock Lesnar, but he held his own with Brock Lesnar in the ring, which is pretty great. And yeah, I have nothing but, hopes for Luke Harper. He's even changed his changed his outfit now. It's not the jeans and the tank top that he had before. He's completely changed his gear. He actually looks like one of the Briscoe brothers, actually, from ROH. He looks like the missing Briscoe brother. But yeah, I just want good things for Luke Harper. He seems like a nice dude. He's a great dad, too, apparently. He actually brings his little kid, everywhere, and all the wrestlers love his kid and everything. So, just a lot of respect for this guy. I hope this Axxess match gets more eyes on him. And, it's sad to see a guy this talented and a guy who's had so many accomplishments already in his career basically looking at this like this is make or break, because, my opponents keep getting younger and I keep getting older. And I still think I can go, but if the company doesn't think I can go, I don't know what. But yeah, that's Wrestlemania Axxess for you, everyone. I really only mentioned that because of the old NXT versus new NXT and because of the Luke Harper connection. But all right, after that, we got another story for you here. And again, Caleb, you mentioned that other company that's being started. Well, that other company is All Elite Wrestling, started by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. They've been doing something really cool if you've been watching their YouTube show, which you should, because it's one of the best goddamn wrestling-related things right now. Basically, AEW, they haven't done their newest event yet, Double or Nothing. They don't have a TV deal that we know of. They're selling a ton of merch, but what they are doing, though, to drum up interest in their new event is really quite brilliant. Hey, did you love the invasion angle? Did you love it in WCW? Did you not care for it when they did it again in WWE? Well, essentially, AEW, they haven't even really come together as a company yet, but they're signing wrestlers left, right, and center. Really interesting wrestlers, too. And they're going around, and they're basically invading every indie fed that will have them. They invaded bar wrestling. They invaded AAA just a couple weeks ago when the Young Bucks essentially stole the tag titles out from under the Lucha Bros. And here, Brandy Rhodes, Cody's wife, led the women of AEW to, what was it? A Shine or a Rise event? It was a, here, I have it written down right here, to a Rise event, to a big Rise show, and it was her and basically a bunch of the women that they've signed already. Yeah, Michael Nakazawa, Hippie Exterminator knows what's up. Yeah, led a whole, big invading force into Rise and, got into a fight with them and built up some storylines that are going to be going into Double or Nothing. And I think that's so cool that the women get to invade the other women feds too. I thought that's really awesome. And also too, this also more or less tells us that yes, Brandy Rhodes is most definitely getting back in the ring because she actually has a pretty big clerical role in AEW. She's a big talent agent, big public relations thing because she actually has a degree in that and everything. But I think it's cool that she actually led the charge into the ring, and I just think that's super cool and super awesome that we got to see that one. Yeah, AEW is going to be great. I cannot wait for that. I'm super excited. I know I said it last week, but I'll say it again. There was a moment where I thought I would start the Unsolicited Wrestling podcast and make it just an AEW thing when AEW started. But yeah, that's really cool. You really don't know where they're going to invade next, AEW. In fact, here's a theory I had. So next Saturday is going to be the big G1 New Japan Madison Square Garden show. And this is huge because this is the first time they've ever run Madison Square Garden because, WWE had a freaking stranglehold on that thing. New Japan and Ring of Honor have basically made it very strongly stated, yeah, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Hangman Page, all those guys who left, we're basically done with them now because they're officially our competition. Even though they literally helped them put on Double or Not, or the original All In, like Ring of Honor actually helped put on that show. What are the odds you think that AEW are going to invade that show? They've been playing it really coy. They've really made it sound like they're all done with each other professionally. But literally, it looks like every other indie group in the world is behind AEW right now. Would it not be freaking crazy if AEW went there? Exactly, Caleb. We need a good global competitor for WWE. I'm feeling meh about pro wrestling because it's only quality outlet. Agreed. And everyone is hoping AEW will be that thing because it's a lot of young guys with a lot of new ideas who have been doing it for years. They know what the industry is like. They know what people want, and they're already making some big moves, and I'm very interested to see what their thing is going to look like. And they got real money behind them, too. They got the Khan family behind them, who look to be sparing no expense. God, I wanted to go to Double or Nothing in Vegas, but I could never afford it. Yeah. Kenny Omega was very smart to turn down WWE for AEW. I mean, I think he always was. Hippie Exterminator, the tagline of AEW was change the world, which is literally his tagline. I think he always knew where he was going, but I get the feeling they offered him so much money, even his friends could be like, yeah, we couldn't fault you if you wanted to go and get all that money. But, yeah, so that was the AEW news, everyone. That's pretty crazy. We'll definitely be talking more about AEW in the future, because they're capitalizing on the news with cool shit like this. You never know when they're going to turn up. And again, I think it would be so sick if they actually showed up during the G1 ROH New Japan thing. Because, I mean, obviously, they're probably a little upset that they all left to go start their own company. But at the same time, too, imagine what a beautiful moment that would be if they came together as like a united front against the McMahon Empire and against WWE. And clearly WWE is already a little scared of that Ring of Honor New Japan Super Show in Madison Square Garden because they moved Takeover. Takeover was supposed to be Saturday, but they moved it to Friday, which is also why I really wanted to get this show out now and why I'm going to be doing my Takeover predictions tonight. But yeah, wouldn't that just be insane? And so with that, what's our next piece here? Some Lucha Underground news, everyone. This is just a small one here, but it's something worth noting. So Lucha Underground made a lot of people really upset because apparently they signed a ton of their talent to really shitty, really exploitative contracts that wouldn't allow them to work anywhere else. And because it's not run like a regular wrestling company, they don't tour, they don't do house shows or anything like that. It's made like a TV show is what it is. Also, thank you, Caleb Xavier, for hosting me. I just saw that. They do it like a TV show. So when it's an off season, you're not allowed to work anywhere else. And when you're a wrestler trying to make money to feed yourself and your family, that's just not going to work. So a bunch of the wrestlers got together and took them to court in a class action lawsuit. And basically a bunch of names won. And, they're allowed to work elsewhere now. They got out of their contracts. The biggest one was Joey Ryan. Of course, famous penis wrestler Joey Ryan, friend of the Young Bucks, who was also at All In originally, and who I'm sure will be at Double or Nothing as well in some capacity, because if you're watching Being the Elite, the Young Bucks show, they are building up to something with him, and that is he keeps getting beaten up everywhere he goes because he doesn't have a tag partner anymore. And the joke is that they don't call her by name, but they keep saying, hey, Joey, what about that blonde girl who used to protect you? I'm talking about Candice LeRae, who is, of course, married to Johnny Gargano, who is in NXT right now. And if you go to NXT, you are dead, as far as the Young Bucks are concerned. That's become an on-running joke now. So they don't mention her by name, but I love that little bit of connective tissue. And I'm going to guess maybe by the end of this story, they seek to imply that Joey Ryan is going to get some manner of new tag partner to come and help him out. In fact, I think whoever his new tag partner is, I think that's a great feud in the future to have Joey Ryan versus Joey Janela and Penelope Ford. I think they could build a great match around that. Penis wrestler, how has this not become mainstream? He kind of is Marvel Knight. He's had a bunch of viral videos. There's the big famous one of him in Japan suplexing a guy with his dick because it's so powerful he moves him over. And just recently, he was in a match against Penelope Ford, who I just mentioned, who is with Joey Janela. And his thing, Joey Ryan, is that, he's so sleazy. He's got, like, Magnum P.I. levels of hair and a mustache. And, like, he always has a blow pop in his mouth. And Penelope Ford, like, literally took the blow pop and shoved it up his ass during a match. This happened. There's video of this online. Very Attitude Era. Very, very not safe for work is what this one was. And I'm like, man, that's funny. That's a good comedy spot. But, yeah, so Joey Ryan's free of that now. You can see him in more places now. And he basically said, too, I'm going to be in way more places now. Probably AEW. Joey Ryan's had a weird career. He had, like, a cup of coffee in SmackDown. Or, no, not SmackDown. In TNA, he had, like, a cup of coffee. But, like, no one really took a chance on him until Lucha Underground. So, like, more people know him now than ever. He also does a little acting on the side. I think he was, like, in the background of, like, an episode of The Good Place. But yeah, he seems to be a funny guy, and not only that, seems like a nice dude, too. He's got his head on right, got a lot of very progressive ideas about the industry, and, the people who are there. I think he would be a good fit for AEW, because that looks to be the way they're moving. Now, I think our last piece of news, everyone here, and that is NXT Takeover is this coming Friday. They moved it, which I'm actually happy about, because I'd be more than happy to watch this on a Friday. Then, feel like I got to get everything done on a Saturday, but, I can actually make the time to do this, and I have no other podcasts in my way. Oh, yeah, that too, Legend Shazam says, and crazy Moth Martha vomiting on Joey's dick. Another thing that happened for people who have never heard of Joey Ryan. Go check him out. These are things that happened. Wrestling is interesting, don't you know? Things that make Jim Cornette probably pop a couple veins in his forehead. I like Cornette, by the way, but we don't like the same things. I think Cornette is funny. Yeah, remember when SmackDown was on Friday, as Ram King says. Aren't they moving back to Friday? I know after this Mania, we got the big Fox deal coming up. Are they moving back to Friday? What night are they going to be? Are they still going to be Tuesdays? I haven't followed this very closely. That'll be interesting, SmackDown post-Mania, to see what Fox is going to do to put a lot of money into it. The rumor is actually Brock Lesnar might be going to SmackDown for Fox because they want a big star in there. But again, that will be a topic for another prediction. But again, we're talking about the NXT Takeover. I agree. I also like Jim more than Vince Russo, Legend of Shazam. But yes, NXT Takeover. I have the full card in front of me right now. So let's talk predictions on this one. Who do we think are going to win the matches? I guess we'll start off with the UK Championship, which I actually didn't even think was going to be part of the show until it was. It's going to be Pete Dunne versus Walter, the man with the chops, to shatter your chest. Based on pretty much nothing, I get a very strong feeling that Walter is going to walk away with this as a champion. Because I think Pete Dunne has had the belt for too long now, and they want to try something different. And the fact that they're putting this on the NXT TakeOver card, this is their way to be like, hey, Americans who don't watch the UK NXT show, you should watch it. Because we got this guy, Walter. He's just slapping. Don't you mean the European Championship? Do I mean the European Championship? It says UK Championship here, but I don't know. But yeah, Dunne's been champion for 2 years straight now. It's time for some new blood. I think they're really willing to get behind Walter as the guy to, really hold up the NXT UK brand. And I mean, he's cool. He's cool, man. He's got some cool chops. I imagine they're going to have a really bloody, very British strong stylian match. I'm sure they're going to beat the shit out of each other, and I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure it's going to be really great. And yeah, there will be chops, and this will be a showcase match for Walter is what this will be. This will be, hey, if you want to see more of this guy, watch NXT UK, why don't you? The next match we have after that is the Tag Team Championship match, War Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet, who are the newest winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic, which... what a fucking weird thing for them to win when they're not even regularly a tag team. That kind of bugs me when you're not regularly a tag team and you still win, but they've made them a tag team now when they called them up to the main roster because they didn't believe in their own tag division. It's so weird. They're not going to Mania even though they completely monopolized the Raw SmackDown tag scene. We don't even know who the Revival are going up against at Mania. We got another week to sort that one out. If they're even going there, they might just have a champion versus championship match. I don't know. But yeah, War Raiders versus Black and Ricochet. I think this is obvious. It's got to be War Raiders because they're the only ones who are an actual tag team. That's why. They have to win. They literally have to win because, again, Ricochet and Aleister Black are already called up. So there's no reason they're going to drop the tag belts to two non-tag wrestlers. It just doesn't make any sense. I should hope, though, that it'll be a really great match. Ricochet's in it, so I'm sure we're going to see some amazing flipping stuff. Hanson and Rowe are really strong and really agile in their own right. I bet you right now one of the big guys is going to catch Ricochet in the air as he comes flying at him. I can totally tell you. And yes, Ninjak, this will be Ricochet and Black's last match in NXT. In fact, we know it will, because on the house show circuit, they already said goodbye to the fans, so we know this is going to happen. We know that's a thing. And yeah, Hippie Exterminator, Jesus, neither tag belt defended at Mania. 8 hours and WWE can't find something to do the tag division. They really don't give a shit about the tag division. I'm sure they'll throw something together, but it's a week before and they don't have a match yet. That's pathetic. They have no storyline. In fact, a lot of the teams we know aren't going to be their challengers because Gable and Rude are in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, so we know it ain't going to be them. We don't know who it's going to be. Maybe it will be. Maybe Black and Ricochet will pull double duty and do 2 nights, which I would hate to see them do that because I'm afraid they'd get hurt. But yeah, it's going to be them versus War Raiders. War Raiders are going to win. It'll probably be a good match because they're very talented. This will be a swan song. It's going to be interesting though because I don't think they want Ricochet and Black to lose clean. They don't want them to look weak. Is the thing if they're already getting called up. They need to have them lose, but also look strong. I don't know if this means maybe Undisputed Era gets involved and tries to mess things up for them. I don't know if this means maybe War Raiders turn heel and start doing some bad stuff, because they're good guys, aren't they, War Raiders? I know in NXT sometimes it's hard to tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy, because because, again, they will do good guys versus good guys and bad guys versus other bad guys. Actually, you know what would be really fun, because I know they ain't doing shit this year? The Riot Squad, because, what is it? I forget if it's Rowe or Hanson. It's the bald one. The bald one is married to former Crazy Mary Dodson, a.k.a. Sarah Logan. I would love to see the 3 girls get involved in NXT and just be like, oh, hey, we tripped up Black and Ricochet. You won! Or, I don't know, maybe War Raiders pull out, like, some actual Viking weapons and just try and murder Black and Ricochet so, they get disqualified. That'd be fun. This match will be good, but, the conclusion you could see coming from a mile away. Next up, we got the NXT North American Championship, Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddell. Probably one of the most anticipated matches of the night, and for good reason. Both these guys are great. What's interesting, though, about this match is that you ask a question here that I feel I always ask when thinking of who's going to win when it comes in NXT, and that is, are we going to put over the homemade creation that is Velveteen Dream, a guy who came through our system, who came from nowhere else, a guy who, we essentially can claim creation of, although, honestly, if you listen to Velveteen Dream and people who know him, he just debuted that character on his own. He didn't even get the go-ahead from the higher-ups. Yeah, he went into business for himself to create that character. They weren't going to let him. Or Matt Riddell, one of the hot new indie signings that they have, who they're already clearly planning to shoot to the moon, and he will be NXT champion within the year, no doubt about it. You gotta wonder. You really do gotta wonder where they're gonna go with this one. Honestly, I think it's gonna be Riddle, because I think they just can't help it. They just can't help it to put it on the hot new signee, because, they spent all that money on him. They might as well push him to the moon and let him win. But that being said, too, hey, if he does end up winning that belt and, Velveteen Dream has to lose it, hopefully that means he can get back in the main title picture, because it feels like, there's a guy out there, Brennan Williams, a.k.a. the Great Black Otaku. He has a show because he actually works at the NXT Performance Center. He's a wrestler doing the house show circuit. He does a stream called The Insiders with him and a bunch of his friends. Again, Donovan Dijak has been on it. Shafir and the other one, Shayna Baszler's Girl Gang, have been on it. And, he brought up something interesting. He said, has NXT lost its soul when it comes to matches like this? Because there used to be a time when you could have, like, No Way Jose versus Austin Aries, or, like, Bull Dempsey versus another big, indie signee, and you didn't know who was going to win. It could have gone either way. But now it seems like more and more NXT is putting more time, money, and effort into their big indie signees, and they're kind of neglecting their homegrown talent at the moment. Street Profits, where do they go? I don't know. Are they on TV? Where did they disappear to? And again, Velveteen Dream, he's kind of the one guy who's been able to crawl his way out of that strange situation by sheer force of just charisma and talent. And, good for him. I'd like to see him retain, but I certainly don't think he's gonna. I think it's going to be Riddell on that one. I could be wrong, but we'll see about that. Next up, we have the Women's Championship match. This is a four-way dance. Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, and Bianca Belair. This is another one that's hard to call because, Shayna Baszler's been holding it down for a long time now. I think she's due to lose it because they probably want to call her up soon. I think she has completed just about everything she can do in NXT at the moment. And she's just great. She's an amazing villain. She's probably one of the best villains. To think that her and Tommaso Ciampa were in the company at the same time. Because they're both just excellent bad guys, so wonderfully hateable, and yet apparently very nice in real life. But yeah, I think Baszler's losing it one way or another, but the question is, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Hippie Exterminator says he thinks Shane is going to retain. Potentially. Maybe they think she's too strong. Maybe she thinks this is like a Brock Lesnar thing where it's like, no, we need a stronger champion to win an offer. Bianca Belair had a really good showing at the last takeover. She is an original creation of the Performance Center. Still a little green, but getting better every day. I feel that, they might not put it on her because they think they've got time. She's got time to be a champion. And she probably will at some point. They definitely seem to like her, as they should, because she's great. Kairi Sane was champion, and they had her drop it back to Shane, which makes me think, do they not have faith in Kairi anymore? Her whole pirate princess gimmick wasn't getting over with American fans the same way it was getting over with Japanese fans, and that's sad to see. But yeah, because they were all in on her for a bit, then they were all off on her. Io Shirai, maybe it's her time. Again, another hot new signee. Might be her time to hold it. I feel like in a lot of ways maybe they're trying to fill that Asuka hole in NXT. They're trying to recreate Asuka, which seems friggin' pathetic now because it's like, why would you want to create another Asuka when you're misusing the Asuka you have now? But yeah, this one could go either way. I guess Shirai is what I would say because it's her first time, but I also would not be shocked at all to see Shayna maintain. The chat made a very good, very, very good argument for Shayna retaining. Also, too, Shayna could retain by cheating as well because she has her girl gang there to help her out. So they're going to get involved at some point. So that would be interesting. After that, we, of course, have the big one. Although maybe not the big one everyone was waiting for, but the big one that we're going to get. Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling versus Adam Cole, Bebe, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Again, this was supposed to be Ciampa, and it's really sad it's not going to be Ciampa because it also makes this really hard to figure who's going to win this one. Because if it was Gargano v. Ciampa, obviously Gargano would have to win. This is him slaying his demon. This is him finally winning, finally getting vindicated for everything that he's done. And they're probably still going to do that, but at the same time, wasn't Gargano also called up with Ciampa? But then Ciampa got hurt and he's going to be out for a year. So are they going to keep him down in developmental? Or are they potentially going to call him up to 205 Live? I heard that was the rumor today, that when Gargano gets called up, McMahon already thinks he's too small and he's going to 205 Live. Which, it would give me a reason to watch 205 Live again, but still, that's a hard one. You gotta figure Adam Cole and the other guys, they gotta be done with NXT soon, right? They've been here for a little bit. You figure it's gotta be time for them to call up, but God, I hope they don't call them up, because if they did get called up, they would be gotten called up into one of the most bloated, yet somehow still underutilized tag divisions in a long time. And that's a lot of guys to call up all at once. Do they maybe want to build Adam Cole to be like their next Finn Balor replacement, to be like, no, you are the champion who will hold down this brand now for the next couple years? Honestly, I don't care who wins between Gargano and Cole. Both are freaking awesome guys in the ring, and it could have gone either way, but obviously I have to choose the money is on Johnny because storyline reasons. Yeah, I'm pretty much with you, Hippie Exterminator. unless they like really want to do some long-term storytelling, which I don't trust them to do, and that is, no, Johnny loses again here, but he has to wait for Ciampa to come back for him to really get his win. Also, I don't know if Ciampa can walk, but wouldn't it be something to see Ciampa get involved here, like come out on crutches or something? I don't know. Yeah, I guess Johnny for storyline reasons, but even if Johnny does win for storyline reasons, how long is he going to be in NXT for? I guess just till the next pay-per-view to drop it again to, I don't know, maybe Velveteen Dream, maybe Riddell, whoever they feel, is ready to take that spot. Because, they need one guy to hold down the brand, and it feels like, the NXT champion guys are getting there shorter and shorter. Like, McIntyre wasn't there for very long. Cien Almas wasn't there for very long. Black wasn't there for very long at all. So, I don't know. Man. Yeah, I guess I'll say Johnny, but I won't be shocked if Adam Cole wins either. So yeah, there's my NXT predictions, everyone. We'll see after Friday if I was correct or not on most of these. But with that, I think we can start bringing this one down to a close. And hey, we had a show for almost a whole hour, so that feels pretty good. I want to thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I have a bunch of links down there in just the description of the stream and of the video when I re-upload this on YouTube, where you can help assist the stream in the future or donate any way you like. Buy a book off my book depository. Get a small percentage of everything you do. You win, I win. Get something off my TeePublic store. Use the promo code CapeJoel30 and you can get like 30% off. I think today's the last day to do that too. I think it's only till the 30th you get to do that, so motor on that. I also accept bits and cheers and all the other Twitch things. You can also donate on Coffee or any of those other things. Any small amount would be really appreciated. I don't expect it, but I always appreciate it. But, yeah, so thank you everyone for coming out. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will be back again next time. I don't know if I'm going to do a show next week. Unless something really huge happens next week. No, I guess I do need to do a show next week because I need to do the main Mania prediction. All right, join me next week, everyone, around the same time next week, and we'll talk our Mania predictions is what we'll do. And so, yeah, join me there for that one. So with that, everyone, I'll bring this stream to a close then. Or, I'll end the show proper because I noticed some people just showed up. This will be the end of the show, but hang around with me in the chat live and we'll talk some more there. So with that, bye-bye.